Hello, beautiful, wonderful people. Hey, bear with me for those listening on Spotify. I am on a beanbag for those listening on YouTube. I am on a beanbag. Why am I on a beanbag? I don't know. I actually had a nice table up here, but it was my grandmother's table, and I wanted it downstairs in her kitchen. It's like not really a dining room, kitchen area, coffee bar, whatever you want to call it. I just wanted a new table, so I moved some stuff around. It's like spring. I don't know about y'all, but for me personally, I like to move stuff around in my house, like the spring cleaning, all that jazz. So that's why I'm on a beanbag. But I also thought beanbags are cool, and I have this giant beanbag. I got it kind of randomly. I've always wanted one, and just one late night on Temu, that's dangerous, by the way. I was like, oh, a giant beanbag for like less than $100. No way. Yeah, and I fell for it, and don't be like me now. I love it now. We have been through a lot, me and this giant beanbag sofa. But unfortunately, when it came in the packaging, it came in like a little pressed cubey, like a little styrofoam cube, and then as soon as you take it out, it expands, it goes everywhere. You have to pull it apart, and then you have to pull out the cubey of styrofoam and stuff it individually into this giant beanbag. By the way, we're not talking about beanbags this entire podcast. I just thought it would be a fun way to kind of introduce the podcast back. I've been MIA, multiple reasons. We're going to get into that, but yes, that's why I'm on the beanbag. It's a nice beanbag. Ironically, my 12-pound Pomeranian slash wiener dog, she loves this beanbag, and this is her favorite dog bed, even though she has a literal dog bed right next to me, but she chooses to be on this giant beanbag. So here I am. I thought it would set the tone for this discussion because this discussion could get heavy, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not a heavy person. I'm a very chill person. I'm not a very dramatic, or I don't even know what to describe, but I'm just kind of like a hey, here I am. I'm a hippie Beatles. Like I'm just peace, love, good vibes, good energy. That's kind of my mantra. So I thought a beanbag was a great representation, and here we are. Thank you for joining me. It's been a while. It's been over a month since I filmed a podcast. Honestly, I think it's been probably 2 months, a little bit longer. I don't know. But I just needed a break from social media, and that's going to tie all into this. Today's episode, though, is part one of my part two series of my bodybuilding journey and why I had to take a break. But more than anything, because I have been a personal trainer, I have been a competitive powerlifter. Now I wanted to enter into the world of competitive bodybuilding, and I still do, I think, but I have to reformulate a new game plan. But for those that don't know me, I'm Haley Barbetti. I'm also on the Instagrams, on the YouTubes as Powerful Hippie, because I'm a powerlifter hippie. That's my name. Don't wear it out. Thank you for joining. I used to say, oh, I'll upload a podcast every week, but I just needed a break from social media. I literally took almost all of January off of social media. It was great. And I mean, social media is amazing. I think it's great for connection. But at the end of the day, it's not your life. Even if you are on social media, if you use that as your job, great. But you have to have a break from your phone. You have to do stuff outside of the phone, outside of the Instagram, the YouTube, the Facebook, the Snapchat, even Pinterest, whatever it is. If you're a realtor and you're on Zillow all the time, you still have a home to go to, right? That wasn't a joke because my husband's also a realtor part-time, but I'm just saying, there are so many different ways to spend your time. Don't always be on social media. It's great, but just remember, don't be so keyed into it, but get back into the real world. I'm going to get back into that too, because bodybuilding did teach me a little bit about that. So I'm very grateful for bodybuilding, by the way. Not going to, rain on anyone's parade. I'm still pro bodybuilder. I just had to, move some stuff around for me, and that's all good. Also want to remind you, if you are not familiar, I use Redcon 1 supplements. I have a discount code, Powerful Hippie, at checkout. I'll include that in the show notes. I always do. By the way, if I'm breathing heavily, it's because like I took a week off from the gym and I came back and I'm really sore. My muscles are really tight. I definitely needed to do some yoga and stretch and take a bath. So sorry for that, but that's why I'm sighing. So I'm fine. I'm not sick, but we're gonna get into that too because I did get the flu, which was a turn of events for the whole bodybuilding thing. So, okay, backstory because I had to bullet point all of this because I think like this might be my longest episode, and that's cool. That's why I'm going to do a part two. So essentially, I want to just pre-curse everybody. I went into bodybuilding as someone who's been in the gym for 10 years lifting weights. Never competed in bodybuilding, competed in powerlifting, not bodybuilding. Powerlifting is squat, bench, deadlift only. For strength, not for muscle definition, for posing, not that. Okay, bodybuilding is similar training wise, but you know, when you come home, it gets really strict with food, with diet, with supplements, with water, hydration. Like, obviously, you can't drink any alcohol, not even like a glass of wine if you're competing. All the calories matter. So, like, mental health became really forefront for me for this journey. And it's so important. Mental health's always been so important for me. It's everything that I think drives a lot of my life because I lost a friend when I was 14 due to mental health. Unfortunately, she passed away by suicide, and I just like it's every single day I think about her, number one. So I know how important it is to have these conversations and provide understanding and support because mental health should always be at the forefront of everything that you do. You need to readdress it if you're struggling, if you can't sleep, if you can't think right, if you can't focus, if you have no motivation. Like, those are really all areas of opportunity that you probably need to address your mental health. So today's episode, which is crazy because you think bodybuilding and powerlifting, right? So physical. Yes, you do have to lift weights, you do have to do all that, you have to train hard, diet, all that, pose, recover. But the mental health side of stuff is side of everything is what people don't really talk about. So I'm going to sit down and talk about how this bodybuilding journey has gone and really impacted my mental and physical health because, to be honest, I didn't expect it to impact my mental health as much as it did. But I think it's interesting and it's compelling because, again, so much goes into everything that we do as competitors. And our mental health is so important because it's our central peripheral nervous system is being taxed. And we need to just really think about, our body fatigue and just make sure that we're still feeling like a human, not a robot at the end of the day. So again, I'm going to go down all my things, what I learned, because I was in this bodybuilding prep phase for over 4.5 months. Whew, it was almost 5 weeks out. Actually, it was 5 weeks out. So by the way, this is not my first time wanting to do competitive bodybuilding. In 2016, that's which was 10 years ago, right? Crazy. I was in college. I was really into the gym, but I'd only been lifting in the gym for like 2 years, maybe 2.5. And I didn't really have enough muscle mass, but I had decent like muscle definition, not enough muscle mass, if that makes sense. So I had some definition and I was strong and I enjoyed the gym and it was a huge part of my life. I would spend 2-3 hours at the gym all the time, every single day. But in 2016, it just got really bad for my hormonal health, but I also had to figure out what was going on there. So, but the main reason that I had to pull out of competing wasn't just physical, it was mental too. Some of it was hormonal. So I'm going to dive into all of these things because no matter who you are, what you are, I'm a natty female, like I think it's important to share these experiences because you might want to go into bodybuilding or even just the gym and you don't know all this stuff. So it's really important to bring this up. Some people, especially women though, might be at a higher risk for hormonal dysfunction because maybe you have different hormones or conditions or, illnesses that just can't allow you to push yourself the way that needs to get pushed for bodybuilding. Doesn't mean you aren't a good athlete or that you can't do other sports or anything, but bodybuilding really is the most taxing thing I've ever done. And this is my part too. I did this 10 years ago. So I knew going into this that I was going to be hard, but I had I had expectations for myself. I would wake up and do fasted cardio. I had a walking pad. I hit my 10,000 steps every day. Y'all, I was so vigilant. I weighed every food to the gram, man. Like the water, 5 liters of water a day. Like I was on top of everything. So that really wasn't the failure. Like I had really great systems in play. I think I could have really focused a little bit more on my sleep and recovery. After 4 months, you're just so tired. Your body's been trying to lose and keep muscle mass, but lose body fat and push yourself at the gym and cardio. So my first limitation though was physical, and I started prepping for competing, by the way, 2 months before I started, like I signed up with a coach and stuff. So before I signed up with a coach in August, I was on a calorie deficit starting in like mid-June. So I did that before I signed with a coach because I wanted to say to myself, all right, Haley, you got to track your calories, because that's the biggest problem, or my biggest limitation is I don't normally track my food. So I wanted to make sure that I could do that and stick with that for a while. So I did that for 2 months and I could. I tracked my food for 2 months. I tracked my calories for 2 months, even before I signed up for a coach. So I knew I could do it, and that wasn't the issue. But after, I would say, 2 months, it wasn't like I wasn't passionate about it anymore. I just kind of wanted to get it over with. And mid-November, I was rushing at the gym one day because my husband and I were going to a wedding, and I was on the leg curl machine, the machine where you push the pad down. And as I was getting under the pad, or like the little thing that goes on top of your quads, right, to push down, I twisted into like the machine, like I scooped into the machine and pushed the pad at the same time, like pushed it and twisted my knee. And I don't even know, I was just rushing. And that's like when you do dumb stuff, was when you get injured. When you're rushing, maybe you're having a bad day, you have anxiety, you didn't sleep good, you didn't have enough calories, your body is just feeling really stressed, or you're fatigued, right? And then you make dumb decisions. Or you're new and you don't really know what you're doing. I'm not new. I've been doing this for 10 years. I was just making a dumb decision by rushing. And I strained something in my knee. I think a like patellar tendon issue that I might have had from powerlifting a while, but it was bad. It was so bad. Like I couldn't do a body weight squat for 2 weeks. It hurt. So that was hard, and I didn't know what to do. So I tend to brush things off just because I was like, oh, I'll get better. It's not like I can't walk or anything, right? But unfortunately, after 2 weeks when my cardio was getting upped, my knee was not healing to 100%. So even when I squat down, like I was feeling a really decent pinch, and it kind of hurt. So I was like, okay, that's not great. But the only thing that I could do at that point, unless I wanted to go to physical therapy, was to rest. So I had to rest. And after rest, it got better. I still had to do some cardio, but I couldn't push myself the way I wanted to. So my body was not showing up for me the way it needed to. Like I wasn't cutting down enough, but my knee was feeling better. So I was like, okay. And I was just at a crossroads. I was like, which do I go? Do I want to feel good or look good? Well, I was in pain. So it's not like I wasn't feeling good. I was literally in pain. That's the difference between pushing through and being in physical pain. So I just kind of realized at that point, all right, the only way for me to recover to 100% is to not push the cardio and the training together. And even when you do diet, bodybuilding is not like you can just kind of slack off on cardio. You have to be dialed in on cardio, diet, and training, and at least diet and cardio. Maybe you can take a few days off from training at the gym, but my knee was not healing. So that was really the first limitation. And that was really the first thing in the back of my mind, that I was like, okay, I'm in pain. I need to take a break. So I was 5 weeks out and I felt so defeated and frustrated because I had been doing this for 4 months. I already lost like almost 20 pounds, which is significant for me because I didn't really think I was going to be losing that much weight. Some of it was body fat, some of it might have been a little bit of muscle mass too, but you know, it's all good. That was the real first reason that I had to pull out from the show. But the second reason was hormonal. And this was really the more interesting side that really kind of meshed into the whole mental health, because all of this affects your mental health. Hormonal issues, injuries, fatigue, pain, it's all going to show up in various ways. You're going to feel grumpy or cranky. It's going to impact your mental health. Your body's going to be stressed and you're going to feel stressed. And you're kind of like feeling all these feelings. And it's very intense, by the way. So, number 2, hormonal. When I was about 6 weeks out, I lost my menstrual cycle, which does happen. And I knew that. Going into this, I knew all of this. I'm not a novice to bodybuilding and powerlifting. Like, I've never lost my menstrual cycle doing powerlifting, but I know a lot. I've done so much research, y'all. It's quite insane. So like I knew that, and I was okay with it because I was really pushing myself in the gym and training and cardio. And to be honest, I was okay at that time because I was like I couldn't even think about going to the gym and training and doing all of that with my period. So at first I was okay with it, but after 2 weeks of not getting it, I kind of started having anxiety about not being able to get it again, and it was stressing me out because in the past I have suffered from amenorrhea, which is loss of your menstrual cycle. So this was actually more mentally triggering to me than I originally thought and realized. So, and again, even though I have gotten my menstrual cycle back right now, at first I was very worried because I know that, going a long time without your menstrual cycle was obviously not healthy. So this was starting to really getting me down in my dumps because I had suffered from hormonal issues being on the birth control pill in the past. So I was frustrated. I didn't really have a game plan to know about after bodybuilding how I would get my period back either. So that kind of stressed me out because I was like, okay, what do I do now? Where do I go? I want to look good, but I also want to be able to feel good long term. I might never compete again. This is my first time, might be my last time competing in bodybuilding. I want to do my best, but I also don't want it to be the end of my hormonal health. Like, obviously, I want to be able to hopefully have kids one day. So I was stressed, but also because it was bringing up past issues that I've been pseudo-diagnosed with adrenal PCOS, which is a subtype of PCOS, which stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. For those that don't know, PCOS is very interesting. I think there's 6 different types, but the adrenal PCOS is where there's excess androgens produced by the adrenal glands, but rather than the ovaries. So most PCOS cases are driven by insulin resistance, which then affects the ovaries, but adrenal PCOS is often linked to the body's stress response. So I knew that going into this, so that was fun. And this is why in 2016 I originally had to quit bodybuilding. Because when I was on the birth control pill, I had so many hormonal issues, lost my period, acne, mood swings, anxiety. I don't know if I can't say depressed because I was never diagnosed with depression, but I was definitely sad and very in my feels. And it's not a great time when you're in college and you're single and going through a lot, with your classes and figuring life out by yourself for the first time living alone. So I think, and I was diagnosed with PCOS before even I never heard of it. But then I got off the birth control pill, did seed cycling, looked at supplements, worked with a doctor, and made sure my food biomarkers, androgens weren't high because I was having some dietary issues. My gut health wasn't the greatest either. I was bloated, I was constipated, or just not great. And I wasn't feeling great either. So that was in 2016. So I was just feeling right now defeated. I can't really explain how I felt other than just feeling defeated, because after working so hard on my hormones for so many years, having a normal menstrual cycle, great digestion, like knock on wood, I've done all the things, the holistic things you can do to try to get my hormonal health back, and it was coming back to me. So if you don't know, there's different types, like I said, of PCOS. It's usually caused by high androgen levels, which can show up in various ways. Not all of them are symptomatic. Some people don't realize they have PCOS and they have it, but usually you have symptoms. So some symptoms could be irregular or absent periods, acne or oily skin, thinning of hair on the scalp, excess hair growth on the face, chest, or back, acne, persistent fatigue and low energy, low sex drive, recovery. And there's different triggers for PCOS. Some are epigenetic, so around you. Some might be like genetic, if you have a hormonal genetic mutation or other issues going on. So it's like nature versus nurture, and they both go together to impact PCOS. Knock on wood, I have not, since getting off the birth control pill, regulating my hormones, seed cycling. I did the 10-day detox by Dr. Mark Hyman, which is a great metabolic and hormonal health detox if you're going through a serious hormonal issue right now, whether that be prediabetes, insulin resistance, PCOS, or any hormonal issue. Please read that book, The 10-Day Detox by Dr. Mark Hyman. That's what my doctor in Tallahassee, my naturopathic doctor, recommended, and that was an amazing book and protocol. Got my period back, and I've been great hormonally since, except for bodybuilding recently. But I got my period back again. So I can say, like, when you know the triggers or maybe what causes your hormonal issues and you work with your doctor and you integrate diet, lifestyle. It's not just lifestyle, it's diet, lifestyle, and supplements even. Still, like, there's definitely ways to mitigate your symptoms and help your life and your hormonal function. So the body has adrenal glands which manage the body's stress response, and this can, be dysregulated in like a number of ways. So chronic stress, high cortisol levels, okay, can trigger the adrenals to produce more androgens. And when I had blood work done like years ago, I did have high cortisol. So that's one of the markers, like the biomarkers to be diagnosed for PCOS. That's like the adrenal type. Lifestyle factors. This is where it gets interesting with bodybuilding. So excessive and high intensity exercise. Sorry, I'm moving around a lot. My laptop's getting hot. Excess high intensity exercise, significant calorie restriction, lack of sleep, they can all put more stress on the adrenal system. So guess what I was going through? Calorie restriction, excess exercise, lack of sleep. And guess what happened? Hormonally, besides just losing my period, I started to get back knee. So back acne. Haven't had that happen to me since like high school, and I'm 30. So, and it wasn't bad. It's gone away, but that wasn't fun because I'm moving around. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to go as a 30-year-old person or anybody and have back knee. Might have to get my table back up here. This is getting a little crazy. So that was the other part of everything, the hormonal part. And I can tell you right now, that alone almost made me want to quit completely, besides the knee, because I don't want to say I pride myself with perfect health, but I work really, really hard to have great health. I mean, I get my blood work done, I track my calories, my sleep, my resting heart rate, my supplement routine, like, I work so hard on my health, physical, because I know how much it can play with your mental health. So when your physical health is not great, that's going to impact your mental health. And boom, now we're on number 3, mental health. So all of this was giving me major anxiety, and it was making me wonder if my hormones were just getting out of hand and leading to the anxiety. So if that was the problem, or if I was just having anxiety about my hormones in general. And it was just feeding into my mental health in just almost an inescapable way. I was having a really hard time focusing. And this is a fun thing that I found out through this whole journey. I have a form of ADHD that is not typically presenting. So it was really hard for me to just get a diagnosis because I went to two different psychiatrists. Um, so that's fun. And I thought I might be neurodivergent. I don't know. I was never diagnosed. I never asked to get diagnosed. I just kind of accepted who I was because I was high functioning, but I did have high burnout and I showed symptoms of not being able to focus, lack of motivation. Even though I have master's degrees, even though I have a lot in this life, you can still be high functioning and still have ADHD or be neurodivergent. That's okay. And it's okay as long as you know how to manage it, in my opinion, or get help when you need help. And I needed help. Like I was just having such a hard time focusing. It was really hard for me at work. I didn't want to live off of caffeine because I was constantly feeling fatigued by this lack of being able to stay motivated and focused. And that was impacting my burnout and my sleep, and that was feeding into my anxiety, which fed into my inability to focus. And I got easily irritated, and then more symptoms showed up, like my PMS, like before you get your period, sometimes you have premenstrual syndrome. That was way worse. And it was almost like having like just PMDD, like I could not focus. I was so tired. It was like all over the place. And that's what really made me reassess if I can do bodybuilding, because all of it is hard, physically demanding, but I was not expecting the mental demand and constant stress and fatigue. I thought I could mitigate a lot of my issues with fasted cardio, intermittent fasting, and not high intensity cardio or insane training, but it still wasn't enough for me to calm down my central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and my hormones. So basically, that was a lot. And I did say that I lost my period, but I also, again, like I said, had some back knee. I was just not feeling great in general. My stomach was fine, but I was feeling a little bit more bloated. I was not doing this alone though. I had an amazing coach who has a doctorate in physical therapy, coached hundreds of athletes and super supportive. But I was just going through it and I cannot stop working my full-time job. So it was like something's got to give. And this is just a hobby. This is not a job. This was just a goal. And now I have to go back to the drawing board and kind of reassess it. But it's okay because, oop, I just cut in and out. It is okay because I want to do this the right way. I think the reason I wanted to take a break from social media too is I felt like I let myself down, I let my tribe down, my people in my corner. But when I decided to take a break from bodybuilding, I did feel relief more than anything because I knew I couldn't push myself beyond injury. I would get either re-injured or just have a complete crash out and never want to do this again. And that's not the way to do it. I also need to work on some stuff. Posing I need to work on. Let's just talk about this too. My bikini that I ordered, unfortunately, somehow the person that I ordered it from, she was moving, lost my order. I reached out to this person. It's February. I was supposed to compete last month, by the way. I still don't have my posing suit. She said it should be coming next month. So it was just a perfect storm. Oh, and then the last reason that I had to pull out for my show, I got the flu. And that was like just the cherry on top. My knee was hurt. I was starting to get back knee, lost my period, didn't know where my posing suit was, and then I got the freaking flu for literally 5 days, couldn't go to the gym. Like I had 103-degree fever for 2 or 3 days. It was awful. And I didn't get my flu shot this year. That's on me. That's on me. I think I got the flu from the gym, by the way, because I don't really do much besides go grocery shopping and stuff. So, like, yeah, I don't know where else I would have gotten it from because I wasn't even traveling. But, like, all of this just led me to reassess my goals, if I even want to do this again in, like, the next few months. Because I thought maybe there's a show here in Jacksonville, Florida in June. I was like, maybe I should do that show. But then I'm like, I don't know, that's kind of close. And I still have a lot to work on. If I do this again, though, I don't even know if I'm going to hire a coach. I kind of want to coach myself. I learned a lot about myself too, as far as being coached. I don't really like being told what to do. It's not because I'm defiant, it's just because I'm a little, like I said, maybe it's because I'm neurodivergent and I have ADHD, and I'm just a little bit like, I gotta do things my way or else I can't really understand it. I was trying to follow all the workout plans, diet plans, but I was just not doing the good, like the best I guess I could do with eating the same thing every day. It was causing me to feel like crashed out. So this is where I am right now. Just wanted to update you. Luckily though, my mental health's amazing now. I have a diagnosis. I've been diagnosed with ADHD. It's like a moderate form because I'm a high functioning person, but like it definitely creeps up, especially it's hormonally related. Like before my period, my ADHD, just like I do have a hard time focusing. But the cool thing is when you get a diagnosis, work with a doctor. They'll go over your options with you if you want to talk about medication or other things. I wanted to try medication because I've never tried it before, wanted to see if it helped me. I think it works. So again, you talk to your doctor or healthcare provider about your options, but I went through ADHD Advisor, I took an assessment, I answered all the questions, did a lot of research, asked my doctor a lot of questions, and we just had such a great rapport conversation. And now I feel heard, which is like the best thing, because for 30 years to go undiagnosed, not realizing how important it is to get a diagnosis or at least understand how your brain functions is so important. And like if anything bodybuilding has taught me is to really, really value and take care of your mental health, then this was worth it. It was very time consuming. It was a lot of money. My coach charged over $300 a month. The suit was $300. Food and supplements paid out of pocket. I don't even know how much I spent on that, but we're talking thousands of dollars. So it's not an easy or a cheap thing to do. Just wanted to give you that update. However, my support system, my friends and family, husband, everybody around me has been super supportive, especially when I got injured, because like obviously that impeded my goals. But the cool thing about this though is it's put me in perspective of like, you know what? You're not quitting, you're just pivoting. Okay? You don't have to quit bodybuilding, you can pivot. I'm still going to the gym, I'm still training really hard. I might put strength in front of my physique right now because I feel like I've let my strength side down a little bit. And I miss feeling strong and being strong, but I'm going to go slow. Like, I don't feel like I need to squat 2 plates anymore. I can squat 135 and be very happy and content. So I have grown a lot. My ego is pushed down. I don't want to get injured anymore. I don't want to do dumb stuff and risk my ability to be able to compete long term. So again, this is where I am right now. I'm in a good spot. I could have been like down in the dumps, but it showed me that if you don't show up for yourself, it's gonna be hard for people to help you because they don't know how to. And so I've had to advocate for myself, and I've had to show up in more ways than I realized, but I'm grateful for it, and I'm excited to see the next part of this journey. So this was my backstory. This was the part one. And next week, I will be discussing what I'm going to be working on as far as my continuing education and my new comeback plan, and also how I intend to prepare, hopefully, for another bodybuilding competition, which is going to be more unique and efficient for my personal hormonal optimization, because again, that's my forefront. So whatever I can do to bring my stress down, like that's going to be really important. But again, if you're interested in this, I hope this podcast helped you. If you're interested in bodybuilding and haven't competed, I'm going to bring the raw, the real, the scary, the happy, all of it, because everybody needs to be informed before you make this decision. And also, if you have any questions, definitely DM me on Instagram. I'm at Powerful Hippie. If you want to come on the podcast, same thing, DM me or email me. My email is just haley.powerfulhippie@gmail.com, and let me know what you want to discuss. It doesn't even have to be health or fitness related. It could be any kind of conversation. I'm into music. I'm into art. I'm into gardening, traveling. I look for shark teeth. Oh, I got a tattoo of a shark during my hiatus, my little revolution was getting another tattoo because now I have three, so that's fun. But again, if you found today's episode helpful, be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really supports me. Also, I'm on Spotify, on the Powerful Pod, and my Instagram's Powerful Hippie. I'll include all the links in the show notes, including my Redcon 1 discount as well. So again, thank you for tuning in. I am always so, so proud of you for taking your first step in whatever this journey might be. I just want you to know that you are amazing and you are powerful. Bye, guys.